Thank you so much. We are at the last session, and our goal is to close this session as early as possible. Close the meeting as early as possible. In this session is going to be the Q&A session and some housekeeping matters concerning the work we are doing in RCC GNA and RCC generally. So let's start from the Q&A, and the Q&A will include all that we have learned in the two sessions and questions pertaining to your work. Okay, I'm a worker in so parish, and I have this question: when we go to camp, why do we sweat? You know, things like that. Just an example. You know, so the questions that possibly your parish pastor may not have an answer for. You know, so we're in that session, and so it's going to be very cut. Amen.
Amen.
From what we have learned, the two sessions, 7 attributes of a wise man, sacrifice in ministry of a wise leader, and sacrifice in ministry, then questions about the work that we're doing in RCCG,
I'll start.
Yes, sir.
Question for you. So, you've given in your discussion, you talked about like following. You talked about obeying instructions, like when Daddy Gio gives 100-day fast. You know, you say Daddy Gio say you guys fast, but you don't necessarily. So in a situation like that, if the ministers or the HODs are not doing that, are they going contrary, or how do you help? How do you help guide your leadership team, HOD or ministers, if there's an instruction of that magnitude, fast 100 days, and maybe they're not doing that? How do you help with that?
Well, I try to make them see the big picture, because every time that the General Overseer calls a fast like that, it's always something attached to it. So I communicate that, because there are memos that I receive that other pastors don't receive directly from Lagos, that they explain some of these things. So I have the privilege of having that information. Then I will try to get a buy-in. Okay. One of the challenges we have is we are leading a highly intellectual congregation in the US. So a lot of times when you throw it at them, they don't just take it because Gio said it. Yeah, that's what I've observed. So we have to repackage in a manner that will be presentable. Unlike in Nigeria, when the Gio says he does it, you don't ask too many questions. But our own people here, number one, they were not raised in the Redeemed culture. Over half of our culture are not Redeemed members. Half of our parishioners are not Redeemed members. They found the church here, so they don't know that culture of Gio and all those. So we have to repackage it without the message losing its substance, so that they will understand that fasting is actually to your own benefit. Then some of them will bargain. I say, yeah, so our people bargain a lot. They say, I'm a caregiver. I carry 500 pound people. If I'm fasting for 100 days, I will die. Then you begin to explain to them that they won't die. I say, Pastor, with all your explanation, can I break at 3? Pastor, choose you this day. Break at 3 or don't do it at all. And of course, I will encourage them to break at 3, than not to do it at all. Hey, that's okay, during your break time, you know, that's when they serve all these donuts and all those things. You go to your car and read Open Heavens and just pray and all those things. You have to meet the people at their level, because they are not you. So don't pastor them as if they are pastors. If there was a time you were a baby, and somebody met you at your level. So then gradually now they can now see that they can do it. Like when we normally have solemn assembly in our parish twice a year. During the Solemn Assembly, we fast dry for 3 days, and we are in church for 12 prayer sessions. So my children have not been doing it. They sneak into the kitchen and all those stuff. So this year, I now call them and say, you know what? Have you bothered to ask yourself, your dad and your mom have not died since we started this Solemn Assembly? What gave you an impression that you will die? Because my son will say, hey, Daddy, I don't want to die. I don't know stuff. So they said, why not just try it and say, God, you know, I don't want to do it, but Daddy said I should do it. Make sure I don't die. And they did, but they couldn't do they were breaking at 6. And I celebrated them. Because before, they were not doing anything. So I said, wow, you did this 6 p.m.? Wow. So they were happy. Next time, we've got to improve it. Maybe they will break at 9. Gradually, before you know it, they will do the whole thing. So let's meet those are my children. So if I can meet my children at their level, what about church members? I should be able to meet them. They are also my children. So rather than sit in judgment and be saying that you will go to hell for not, nobody is going to hell for not fasting. Nobody. It's not in the Bible that people go to hell because they don't. No, fasting is for yourself. It's for your own good. You are chastening your body so that your prayer life can be effectual. That's just it. So nobody buys heaven with fasting. So don't let's make it a religion. Did I make you happy?
Yes, sir.
The next. Yes, sir.
So this question is regarding church planting in Redeem in North America. So I guess the question will be, when are we going to, I know when Daddy comes for a convention, he says, establish so and so amount of parishes in America. However, we know the same kind of logic can't really work in North America because it's not Nigeria. If you understand where I'm coming from, that aspect. So when are we going to start implementing effective church planting methods in the sense whereby, we just don't send maybe a pastor and his family alone, or because I've seen quite a few churches, and I'm also talking from a few experiences as well, but I've seen quite a few where, the church, the pastor just kind of left alone-ish, if that makes sense. Like they're just they plant and they just leave them alone. And then the church, so we going back to Nigerian methods where the church starts from slow, low, and then maybe later on, 5 years down, 10 years down, then they start growing. But we're in 2017, I don't think that's how we should be planting churches anymore, at least. We should be doing much effective planting of churches because, yes, we've done it in the past and it worked. However, there's a better way we can do it, and it should be able to work much better.
Yes, thank you. We are a church planting mission. We are not apologetic about it. We all know that is who we are. Okay, so when I signed up to become a pastor in the church, I counted my cost. I knew I was signing up for a pastoral mission. So if I wasn't really going to plant other churches, I wouldn't become the pastor of Solid Rock. And if I'm tired of doing it and I don't want to do it again, I will not stay redeemed. Because why would I stay redeemed and go against what Redeem does? Or what Redeem stands for? So the moment I don't want to, I feel I'm done. I'm out. I don't feel I'm going to hell because of that. But for as long as I'm here, we'll plant churches. Okay, effectual church planting. I don't plant churches the way people plant churches. So I only know me. Okay? Every year we plant a church in our parish. And when we are sending a family, we send at least 6 other families along. Then apart from that, all the ordained ministers in the church, 2 families of ordained ministers will go every month for the next 6 months to help the church. 2, we have a budget from our parish to support you for 6 months. We get support from the region or the national if it's available. The last one we planted, we even got a support from a province in Lagos to the tune of about $70,000. It's not every time it's like that. But the truth is that that church that we did that for is standing now because of all that. Because I see it as unnecessary punishment. Sending a man and family and say, may God be with you. To me, it's wickedness. Because I know what it means. And the fact that I moved from Maryland to Phoenix without having workers does not mean that everybody will have to pass through that. I was a trailblazer, so my story is different. But the truth is that I didn't even feel we didn't have anybody because the city was waiting for Redeem to come. So immediately we landed, within 3 months we already have 100 people. Because the city was waiting. So we try as much as possible, but there are many times that is outside our hands that we want to do the kind of thing we do in Solid Rock, but the church will say, because we want to increase, don't bother about all those 6 families. So that one I'm under instruction now. You understand? So I don't blame people that do that because they are under pressure. But by the grace of God, I am able to manage the pressure because I can raise people to go. I can raise finance to go. But it's not the same with all the other pastors. And if they don't do it, it will be as if they are rebelling. So we have to strike a balance. Do you want to now face the Jew and say, we don't have, no, the Jew doesn't have time for all those things. He will just tell you to go by faith, and since it has worked in the past, he believes it can work again, and we have said that it has worked again, But for us, and I encourage the pastors under me that want to, that must plan to follow that guideline. A lot of them are not able to, but we are able to, and we are doing it. So we encourage people that can, and the people that cannot, we pray that God will give them the ability. But as for church planting, it's not going to stop. For as long as this is the Redeemed Christian Church, it will not stop. This is what we know it for, and this is what we are going to continue. Amen? Amen. Yes, sir. Awesome.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
How can workers be motivated more to see this work as their work and not pastors?
Amen. By showing them the bigger picture and how they fit in. And I always use my own testimony work with my workers. How I joined Redeem and now we just started serving as unto the Lord. And how God took the work. But I also found out that we have different upbringing spiritually. I wasn't raised in the Redeemed. So it was when I joined Redeem that I know that there's a classical Redeem and there's a modern Redeem. I never had that before. I was raised outside Redeem. So I joined Redeem as a raised worker. So when they were saying, I said, which ones? So I said, okay, so where do I belong, since I was never in any of the 2 camps? So they said maybe I should be neoclassical, neither classical nor modern, so we call it neoclassical. So we are friendly with the classical, we are friendly, and it's confusing. Okay. Where I was raised to see God before my pastor. And to see the work as the work of the family, not the work of our pastor. So we were raised that way. So whether the pastor likes me or not, it's not really, I wasn't raised to look for people's likeness. You know, whether he gives me a position or a title and all those things, I don't need to preach to be a pastor, to be a minister. You know, so, but I found out that I was in the minority because of where I was raised. The bulk of these other people that were working together were raised in the system where you do patronage. Yeah, patronage. So when you see pastor during Christmas or all those things, then you will appear more on the pulpit in January. So it's patronage. You be a good boy, then good things will follow you. You know. So it was strange to me. I wasn't used to it, but I didn't allow that to disturb me. So what I did was, when I now find myself in the position to retrain people, I started retraining them. Rather than me sit and say, "Oh, this thing," no, you will spend the rest of your life complaining, rather than do something about it. So I noticed those things. I just sat back, went to my old nose where I was raised, trusted God for fresh dimensions, and started raising my own people afresh. And they started buying into my own idea of work. So they too now look at other people that don't do it as strangers. And some of them are actually redeemed members from their birth. Okay? So we can motivate them in many ways to take their focus away from pastors and looking unto Jesus. We have pastors, we have workers' appreciation too. Every Christmas we have serious workers' appreciation where we seriously appreciate them, and they know that they are appreciated, and we make them see that God is the one that rewards. The fact that I don't make you a deacon does not mean you are not going to heaven. You know, so they see all this. In fact, more people that may have turned down ordination than anywhere. You see, Pastor, life is better without this burden of deacon. Let's just, because when you become deacon now, you have to come to communion, you have to do this. Please, Pastor, please, let's just leave all this. We are enjoying Christianity. So why? Because the priorities have been redefined. So they don't see it as any big deal. As one of them told me one day when I said, you have to go to the convention. He said, why? I said, because it's our convention. He said, give another reason. I said, because that's what we do. He said, okay, so what if I don't go? And the rapture comes, will I miss the rapture because I didn't go to convention? I said, no. I said, but it is good. I said, we should not forsake the fellowship of the brethren. I said, but we are seeing all these services in Sunday Drop while you are going. It's fellowship of the brethren. Give me another point, sir. I said, you will see the GO. He said, but you said looking unto Jesus, not looking unto GO. Do you understand? Then at the end of the day, God said, but this thing is covered live. If it's covered live, we can have a viewing center in the church. And then I'll spend all the money to go to Dallas. Of course, it made sense to me. We created a viewing center. Because even if I didn't create it, the people that will not go will not go. But when I created the viewing center, they came and they said they enjoyed the convention. It will make life difficult for the people. Because the logistics of going to the convention is tough. Ticket to Dallas is not good. Hotel is car rental. Then when you want to eat food in the car, you remember that white plastic. Somebody shout hallelujah. Hallelujah. So the stress when the people look at it is too much. And they don't believe they are obliged to, like ordained ministers. So they say, if viewing center is there, and by the way, even in Nigeria, they do viewing center in the camp. Yes. In the camp, where the convention is going on, they do viewing center because not everybody in the camp can get to where the convention is, and they are in the camp. So that's how we kill that one. Amen. Except if I'm able to prove that I receive a different visitation from those that are doing viewing center. Next question. Yes, ma'am.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
The question is, if a pastor wants to ordain someone a minister and the person doesn't want to, like you said, is that person in disobedience?
Number one, pastors don't ordain, they recommend.
I'm sorry.
What I do is, when it is time to ordain, I first call the people that I want to recommend, and I will discuss with them. Some of them will politely turn it down, and I don't feel it's disobedience. And they will give me reasons. Some people just want to serve God quietly. This ordination thing comes with work. I'm telling you, don't let's be political about it. You just want to serve God. And it doesn't, in fact, I have somebody in our parish. He was recommended for ordination in 2012. He turned it down. 2013, turned it down. 2014, turned it down. 2015, my wife called me, you are becoming a witch. He said, why are you pursuing this man with ordination? The man said he doesn't want to be ordained. He said, is the man not serving? The man, after me and my wife and the resident pastor, is the one that preaches next more in the church. And I have about 15 ordained ministers. And he's a brother. After the 3 pastors, is the one that preaches next. He takes digging deep in the row about 2-3 times. Solid teacher of the word. When I have deliverance to carry out, it's part of my deliverance team. But he said, Pastor, he's from Ghana, so he said, Pastor, Pastor, what else will I do differently if I'm ordained? And then just let me continue with the way. I don't even like to sit in front. It makes me look like a civil servant. I like to be in the ushering group, do things people don't want to do. I now have to give up. But everybody in the church sees him as a pastor. So it is not the title, it is in you. So people call him pastor because he behaves like one. And there are people that are ordained as pastor and they don't behave as one. So why are we wasting our time? And he said, finally, pastor, the main reason why I don't want to, in the Redeemed Christian Church of God, when you are ordained, they will eventually post you out to go and pastor a church. It's a matter of time. And I don't believe I've been called to that. I believe I've been called into the Caleb ministry, lifting up the hands of the man of God. He said, but when you ordain me, even if it is 10 years, you will post me out. It's not in disobedience, as far as I'm concerned. He's a pastor in the house, but he's not an ordained pastor. The year that he reluctantly agreed was the year that National Headquarters changed the rule on us. The year he reluctantly agreed, immediately we sent all the form. The National said, oh, we forgot to tell you that you should have done SOD. The man said, hey, it's because of me they turned everybody down. He said, it's because of me. They have never turned anybody down because of that before. But when I reluctantly agreed, they turned everybody down. I am the Achan in the camp. So, Pastor, if you don't want them to turn down other people in the future, don't put my name again. I left the man alone. And it's one of my top 4 ministers. And I have about 18 ordained ministers. So it's not by title, it's by who you are. Next question.
The question is, like, and part of the vision of the Redeemed Christian Church of God is to have members from every family in the world. So towards that vision, why is it that like Redeem has branches in more than 100 countries? Why is it that it's hard for us to see a parish pastor from like Washington State, a parish pastor from like where the Redeemed is, that the citizen of where the Redeemed is located, why is it that it's hard? And also, why is it that Redeemed is almost always an extension of Nigerian population or African population?
The second question is clearer than the first question.
Yes.
The first question is not clear at all.
I said the Redeemed Christian Church of God is in India, for example. Why don't we have an Indian as a pastor?
Oh, that's what you mean.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you don't become a pastor because you set up church in your town. You become a pastor because there are qualifications for a pastor. We encourage indigenous. And a few times that I've tried that, then it burnt my fingers. You know, we set up a Spanish church, give them office, give them everything. This man will not fast. He will not come to, in fact, he's struggling to even deposit the money.
To be a Christian.
Yes, you know, his remittance is even different. The offering he gets on Sunday, he struggles to deposit it in the bank. Talk less of remittance. So at the end of the day, I now found out that he took the position because we attached a job to it, not that it was a calling. So by the time we got tired of him, he too possibly got tired of us. We were now debating how to ease him off. And I said, I don't like closing down a church. God, please help me close it down. So the board was already on my case. Pastor, look at the budget, look at the finances. We're just pouring money into this parish. They are not doing anything. They are not sending anything. And I would say, leave me alone. I would rather plant churches than close down. Until one day, they themselves came to me and said, Pastor, have you observed we didn't do church for the past 1 month? I said, what happened? We have closed it down. And it's just an effort to do that indigenous thing. A call is not by indigenous or all those things. You can be a pastor in India and you are from Ijibo. We encourage them. But there is what we stand for as a church. If you cannot adjust to it, we won't, because we're in your town, force you to be a pastor. It's even going to make your life difficult. Number 2, why are musicians mostly African? Because the man that started it is an African man. And I found out that there's nothing you can do about that thing, because I'm a Yoruba man and the pastor of Solid Rock, it's easier for Yoruba people to come. I don't know why. And I never advertised myself as Yoruba man. And I found out in all the parishes we set up, if it's an Edo man that I send there, I see a lot of Edo people go there. And I can't stop them. So I found out that people turn towards someone that looks like them. It's just natural. These are human things that you can't explain. Let's post Pastor Darani come out of this place and bring somebody who is here. Within the next 3 years, this place will change. Bring the Caucasian guy who's from this town. Within the next 3 years, you just begin to see people like him. People like him. Anytime I put an African American minister to preach, because out of our ministers we have African Americans, the attendance of that church we have more African Americans. Of course, not more than us, but more than the regular day that she's not preaching. People turn towards people that look like them. No matter how we package our church, we have our roots in Africa. You understand? And there's nothing sinful about being an African man. Though we like to attract people from our communities, but by the time they come, and I grab the mic and I say, come and join me sing, they say, huh? The moment they do, huh, forget it. And you know, somebody confessed to me, said, the most painful thing in our churches is when the pastor is doing all these things, preaching, and people are getting excited, and they don't know what he's talking about. He said it's frustrating when everybody around you is laughing and jumping and clapping, and you say, well, what is he saying? So they said that thing is very painful. It's like they are losing out on the fun. And you know, no matter how I try to speak like one, I am not. When the anointing grips me, I start speaking in Gesha language. Because that's my default language. But when I'm not seriously under the auction, I can use my nose to talk. But by the time the thing grips me, I just lose control. I'll just start saying, Oluwaku Ishe o. They say, which one is that? That's an Ijesha gospel song. I forgot myself because I'm a human being. Hallelujah. So, don't feel bad. You understand? Yeah. Don't feel bad that.
Follow up. Yes.
I believe that. Let me tell you something.
Okay.
I believe that when people like my children start coming into the ministry, it's going to be different. You know why? They were born in this environment. When they went to elementary school, they mingled with me. I went to the University of Ilorin, where everybody in my class was a Nigerian. Do you understand? They didn't need to say huh when I'm talking. They know what I'm talking about. But my son went to different schools here, and most of his friends are Caucasian or Hispanic. And he brings them home. So he feels more comfortable among them than me. So if somebody like that become a pastor, he will likely have a better church than mine. You understand? But for me, and I don't feel that I'm avoiding. That's what you want to say. Next question.
Yeah, so because I've talked about this diversity, and it's part of why I asked you, because just like you said that people flock to us who is in charge, and that was why I asked you that, because I've thought about it. I feel that if Redeem is able to have indigenous pastors, it would diversify the church. So that was why I asked you those two questions. So as it is now, what happens to that vision? What happens since it's that way now? What will happen to that vision?
You know, 25 years ago, there was no Redeemed Parish here. So a vision evolves over time. Now, we have redeemed churches, about 900 of us in North America. We are no longer comparable to 25 years ago. Now we have in our churches African Americans, Caribbean. They are fully established. Especially if you marry one of us, you will stay with us. By fire, by force. Yes, most of the people stay, at least in our own parish. Check out their last name. We have changed their last name. So, we have improved over 25 years ago. My son is 18 years old. In 10 years' time, he's going to be 28. At 28, he can pastor a church. He will have done better than my generation. My generation did better than my father. Okay, if my son now marries a Caucasian or an Hispanic person, which my wife is not praying to happen. Amen. Exactly. And now you say, you want us to lose these children. So if my son now marries a Caucasian, for instance, and my son has a pastoral call, and he decides to stay in Redeem, look at the advantage of what that Caucasian woman will do to the church. And my son already has his network that is bigger than daddy's own. So that generation has moved on. Now imagine my grandchildren. They will be more conformed with the society than me. But I've done better than my father. My father never knew the Muritala Muhammad Airport till he died. The day he visited Lagos, it was a celebration because it was strictly Ibadan and Ijesha man. So when he visited Lagos, it was like Baba came to London. So from one generation to the other, it will get better. So let's just be patient. Yes, sir.
Just a little follow-up to that question. Two things. But then, if you've done better than your dad, I'm just referring to your message. Aren't you comparing yourself to others and then reach?
No. That's not the comparing.
Okay. That's
the comparing, that one is with a not negative motive. The comparing that's a negative one. That is, I want to make sure I have your car. And that's negative. This one is, I'm thanking God that I've improved upon the legacy that was passed to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the main question was, so we're talking about the next generation. At this point, I don't believe Redeem is doing a really good job. Because if you look at most of the Redeem population, our generation, like, I'm still young adult, so our younger generations were not really that involved in the church. I don't think the pastors do a great job with, not this parish specifically, but just in general as a whole. I don't think the pastors do a great job with attracting the young adults or the younger generation. And then, even if you ask maybe your child, for instance, 8 times out of 10, they will probably tell you they don't want to be a pastor. I'm a pastor.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, because I'm a pastor seed myself. So if anyone ever asks me, do I want to be a pastor? Definitely, the answer is no. I pray that that's not the route God has ordained for me. That's actually what I tell them. Because you've seen what your father has gone through, and you definitely don't want to go through that same route. However, what can we do again to attract and to encourage the young
Yes. When it comes to pastoral call, it's not your call.
Yeah.
You don't take decisions on that. I myself, I did not want to. I just wanted to be an accountant, make money, marry a beautiful wife, and go to heaven. But when the time came, I could not resist it. So if you are going to be, you can't run away. That's number one. Number two, rebranding and repackaging. And the truth is that it might not be obvious what we are doing now, but the truth is that there are a lot of things being done to encourage younger generation to be involved. In fact, there was a particular meeting that the chairman told us that X percentage of our ordination should be for people below 30. Point blank. I got an email from the office of the AGO Admin and Personnel a few days ago that we have to compulsorily start campus fellowship.
Yes.
Whether we like it or not. And if you do campus fellowship, are you not the one that will be in the campus? You know, just many things that we see that the church is trying to move towards that because we are aware of the challenges. Even my children, they make fun of me if I say you are going to become a pastor. They don't want to because that's the peculiarity of their generation. It's not much of what we are going through or what we are not going through. Part of it is it. But it's just like, they like the freedom of choice. You see, when you see it, it's like you are tailoring them. They don't like the feeling that they are being tailored. They just want to be, I gotta do what I gotta do. That kind of, that's the way they are. But leave them alone. Just make sure that they don't deviate from the faith, number one, not from the church, from the faith. Continue to encourage them and continue to lift them up in prayer. In the fullness of time, if it is God's will, they will. There are a lot of them will. At least I'm seeing a lot. Let me say, I'm seeing a few of our Yazoo members now that are parish pastors. And they are doing well. And they are attracting their kind of people. So it's going to get better. Because we have many churches. So by the time we turn 70 and we retire, what do you want these churches to become? Amen. Amen. By the way, you look like a pastor. That's not by the way. We'll talk about that later. Any other question? Okay. All right. Just wait. Let's move to.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Just piggybacking from what you were saying, do you think that through prayers that we're able to, change the dynamics of how the church is, instead of it being just Nigerians, and it could be a mixture of just Nigerians and other nationalities? Why I'm asking that question is because one of our pastors in Perth, Australia, so many years ago, were praying that the church that he planted in Perth will not just be Nigerians. So today, when you go to his website, most of his deacons, church ministers are Australians, Asians, and all the people that he has groomed. So I said, do you think that through prayers that we're able to change that dynamic?
I believe you. And I don't really think we are doing enough in that direction.
Yeah.
I don't think we are deliberate about it.
Yeah.
I am personally not deliberate about it. Me personally, I've not raised a prayer point as God. And there are more people like me. You understand? All I'm concerned is the souls. Whether it's a yellow soul or black soul or whatever. But what you have said is a major point. That God bring like Pastor Sunday Adelaja.
Yeah.
His church is 95% Ukrainians.
Yeah.
I think we need to start getting intentional to actually say, God, this is what we want. We will make more impact if we're able to attract them. For instance, if you come to church and you see that front row where we see it, and you see United Nations there, it will over time rub off on the church. But if you come and the next person you see is Ajale Koko, and this one is Orimo Gunje, and all those. Hallelujah. Those are Nigerian names. Before you know it, it is the same in Shubi and all those people that will come to church. So I think we need to be deliberate about it. And with my children's generation, those guys, they are colorblind and nationality blind.
That's true.
My son will ask me, where do you say Debbie is from? I said, Togo. He said, what is Togo? Is it different from where you come from? I said, where we come from? He said, no, where you come from? Because to him, there's no difference between Debbie, whose father is a Togolese, and we did the naming in the church there in Solid Rock. As far as he's concerned, Debbie is from Phoenix. I'm the one that knows that the father is from Togo. So my wife called me one day and said, Willie, when this boy is going, he will bring the Filipino to this house. I said, why are you that concerned? Look at all his friends. He said, he's from this, he's from this. He said, which one is Guam Republic? I said, Guam, or what do you say? He said, somebody came out, he said, where are you from? I said, Guam. I said, how come he doesn't have friends from Ogbomoso? I said, leave him alone. It's his generation. And I like it. They don't know the difference. They don't know anything. They are different from us. They are colorblind, nationality blind. They don't care. Body. We are the ones that know the difference between Abia and Osho. They don't even know anything about your state. They are the ones that know the difference. They don't know what name belongs to what tribe. They don't know until you explain, say, oh, okay. We don't even know your country, you are talking about your tribe. Amen. And finally, the last question. This side is bringing more questions than this side. Okay.
Do you have any tips for us in terms of, we talk about community church, tips for us too, because I think that would help this, we're talking about having more in the
Community church. Number one, when you want to run a community church, don't run it because you want the people to come to church. That's a selfish motive. Run a community church because you want to be a blessing to the community. Let God deal with the rest. We run a lot of community programs that just bless. In fact, we had to set up a corporation that is called Solid Rock Community Development Corporation, because we found out that the money needed for community, impactful community ministry, you will not get it as a church. So we incorporated another 501c3 that is a strictly community development. So the moment people see the name church, they cut it off. There are people that don't want to give grants or funding to churches. But the moment they see Community Development Corporation, they say that's it. So we did that and we got a 501c3. And we give scholarship to people in community college. We do a lot of local things, support the city, get corporate things from all these companies that want to write off against taxes, and distribute to the community. We have every time something is going on. So with that, I had to let the church see the blessing in giving and not in expectation of a reward. But gradually, some of the people that were blessing stop by the church and they come. You understand? So just be a blessing. That's just it. I was thirsty and you did not give me drink. Let it be your scripture. I was naked and you did not give me clothes. You said, Lord, when were you naked and we did not give you clothes? Lord, when were you thirsty and we did not give you water? He said, for as long as you have done it for the least of the brethren, you have done it for me. Who is the least of the brethren? The least of the brethren are the people you do good to that will never reward you back. For as long as you do it for them, you have done it for God. And how many of us know that God is a rewarder? So don't worry yourself whether they come to church. Coming to church is not your objective. It's coming to God. And finally, my brethren.
Hallelujah. I have a disclosure, a question, and a request.
You alone.
Yeah. The disclosure is, you may have heard many of the questions about community diversity are coming from Victory Court. I think the reason is because what we've received as a congregation is that we're called to be a church for all nations. And in fact, our workers' retreat this year was on that subject, a church for all nations. And so we've been praying, we've been believing, as Holy Spirit leads us, we've been implementing various strategies, to be a church for all nations. So that's the disclosure. The question is there a similar attention or focus, on being a church for all nations at the national level in the Redeemed Christian Church of God? That's the question. And so just to know, are there things that we can key into, things that we can connect to, strategies that we can be a part of? versus going it alone, as it were. And then the request is, if there are no such strategies or programs, can we ask that, as our provincial pastor, could this be something that you could take up at the national level, so to help us also, to be obedient, amen?
Yes. I think there are collaborative projects going on between churches, not necessarily adopted at the national level, but encouraged. And I know a lot of pastors like that have gone beyond this level of Nigeria. And don't get me wrong, there is no parish in Redeem that does not have at least 50% Nigerians. At least, there is none. But guess what? That is a breakthrough. If it's only half of your members that are Nigerians, that is a breakthrough. So, those ones that have been able to attract other nationalities are the ones whose worship is contemporary. That's number one. Two, we found out that Africans overdress to church. It's part of our survey. And what we call regular is an intimidation to other cultures. And they told us, oh, we love your church, but I felt underdressed. It looks like it's uncultural for a redeemed pastor to come to church on a Sunday with jeans and a top and preach a powerful message. We have been told not to do that. But in this culture, it is a welcome idea. In fact, that is the one reason why people will come. So we have some things that are limiting us. Okay? I remember going to camp one day, and I dressed something like this. It was something more traditional than this. Do you know that one of the ushers came to me and took me to the back and said, what's your problem? They first asked for my ID to first know that I'm a pastor. I brought my ID. I was okay. The now man comes and said, sir, you need to go and sit at the back so that when daddy is coming, he will not see you. I said, what if he sees me? He said it's us that he will punish. Because he has said that everybody that will be on the altar must be in complete suit and tie. Under 100 and something degrees. I said, but I didn't know that. Because if I knew, I would go and sit in the congregation. In fact, in our convention, you enjoy life better on sitting in the congregation. I said, I didn't know. And truly, I didn't know. I said, if I knew, I have the tie and the suit, I will not wear. I will wear, because it's punishment. I will wear this and go. Because the instruction is you will not be on the altar if you don't wear. I said, I don't have to be on the altar. I said, but I didn't know. So there are things that are limiting us culturally as a church. Yeah. If Gio is coming to our parish, I must be in my tie. And I don't want to wear the tie in August in Phoenix. I don't want to. It is punishment in August to wear tie. But Gio is coming and I must not disobey. I must wear it and pray that Gio will leave so that I can remove it. So, amen. So until those things are addressed at the top, there are some things that cannot change. But on the community direct contact level, what are the things we can do that will attract our people? We continue to do. There are churches that are doing that. So when I have fresh innovations of things, I will just send to the province so that I can help in your own community ministry. Okay, I think I have to stop. On behalf of, can I go to protocol? on behalf of the Redeemed Christian Church of Christ, our Father in the Lord, the General Overseer, Pastor A. Adewale, the Chairman of RCCGNE, and the Special Assistant to the General Overseer, Pastor James Fadel, and on behalf of our regional pastor, Pastor Ade Okorede, I want to thank everyone that has made this conference a huge success. My prayer is that the oil of gladness will continue to flow over your head, and this area will continue to grow. In the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. Let's put our hands together for Jesus.